Hey there, Aquarius. Welcome to your reading for January 2022. We're going to jump right in here, Aquarius, and we are going to see what is going on for you at this time. You have some good cards here already. I love this Eagle Spirit. This card says Spirit has your back, and we'll cover that in just a minute, but it's also just like a really good card for kind of like accomplishing goals, accomplishing some of the things that you want to accomplish in your life. So I definitely like to see that. But yeah, it's a pretty good reading. You start off with this shared inspiration card. This card says throw yourself into a new project, be willing to let go of time constraints and rules, and really be aware of whatever fills your heart. So there you go. Aquarius. Capricorn just had a very similar message, which is interesting. You two are very close to each other in the wheel, obviously the horoscope, but I would say if you're like a Cap rising or something like that, I would definitely watch the Capricorn reading. I feel like it'll apply. Capricorn shows up in your reading as well. People always get mad when I talk about other signs, but if it applies, it applies, right? So, I don't know what to say. But what I would say here is I would definitely watch that reading if you have Capricorn in your chart. Very similar energy going on here. And again, it makes sense. You're right next to each other. But I do feel that this whole reading is talking about inspiration. You have the Star, which is your card, puts you in a very good position. But the Star is literally a card of inspiration. The Star says if something is possible for one person, it's possible for you. So the Star wants us to like try new things. The Star wants us to follow our North Star, like our guiding light, whatever you want to call it. I think some of the problems here, some of the challenges, I wouldn't really call them problems. I would just say more challenging aspects here are the Moon card. The Moon is the interesting thing is I see the Moon as reality setting in. The Moon is the total opposite of reality. But again, I read intuitively, and the message I'm getting off that Moon is that there is a certain, the Moon for you is reality. It is the real world. You're starting, maybe you have this dream or this big, impossible goal. And I think you think about it, you get very exciting. You get very excited with that Star card, and it's like the universe, I think that urge, that, what do you call that? That kind of pull, that urge to do something is there, but then the Moon sets in, and the Moon is like, you're gonna need money for this, you're gonna need these very kind of like 3D things. Your reading is, again, very similar to Capricorn. In Capricorns, I said you need to invite some magic in. You need to invite the possibility for miracles into your life, and I kind of see that for you here. I don't think these are big, huge miracles. I think it could be the miracle of someone helping you, someone giving you money, or making the money, or whatever it is you need to do to accomplish whatever you are inspired to do, which could be like a big wish, goal, or dream. I think you need to believe that it's possible. In this first row, you have the Seven of Wands, the Devil, and the Eight of Wands. The Seven of Wands is an amazing card. I love these Seven of Wands. To me, it says that if you believe something is possible, then it is possible. He is protecting his position at the top of a hill here, and it's a card of conviction. It's a card that says if you know that something is possible for you, then it is. It immediately becomes possible. So it's a card of beliefs. It's a card of believing that something is possible for you, Aquarius, and that's what I feel is going on here. You have the Devil. I really see this as more of a cleaning up energy, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure in one of your recent readings, you had the Devil, and I was getting a very similar message. It's more of just like a cleaning up the vibration. I think for you, the Devil energy is maybe a little bit of stinking thinking, or just, some minor things that maybe hold you back. These could be, beliefs, belief systems that kind of hold you back. Maybe you need money, but you have negative beliefs about money. Maybe you want love, but you have negative beliefs about love. But again, this is not a criticism, not something you have to worry about. I think you're just kind of, because I see this as more of an action for you. I see this happening very quickly. Even my words, I feel like I'm speaking way faster than I normally do. So, I feel for a lot of you, this is something that's happening quickly, and I'm going to try to slow down and remind myself to slow down. And what I would say with this Devil card is that you're just cleaning up your own vibration, and you're removing negative, toxic things. The Eight of Wands is quickly, things happening very quickly. The Eight of Wands represents swiftness, a quick conclusion, things happening in your life quickly as well. So I see this as you creating, abundance, or you creating the things you desire to have very, very quickly in your life. I also see this as people, they're Eight of Wands is, I have certain cards in the tarot that I call clue cards. The Eight of Wands to me is a clue of socializing or social energy. So for a lot of you, I feel that, getting help from other people would be very beneficial, or allowing other people to help you would be very beneficial as well. With the Seven of Wands, you have the Five of Pentacles. Here's the stinking thinking. Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. You can see here that he has a bell around his neck. The bell around the neck represents kind of needing to make sure that you don't call attention to your weaknesses. So I feel like you need to keep it more positive with that Five of Pentacles. Next, with the Devil, you have the Temperance card. That would kind of make sense. Again, Temperance is a card of turning one thing into another. It's a card of alchemy. It could be a card of turning your negatives into a positive. I always like to remind people that with the Temperance card, you can turn a positive into a negative as well. So, try to keep it positive with the Temperance card. But Temperance reminds us that we can turn any one of our situations around. It doesn't matter what it is. If someone has done it, Star, you have the Star card right here. Literally, the Star card says, if someone has done it, then you can do it. I always like to tell people as well, it's like, I'm not, discounting anyone's, I think that, I don't know if I would call it victim blaming, but I think in the spiritual community, even in law of attraction, right? There is a lot of, again, I don't know if it's victim blaming or whatever, but you catch my drift here, right, Aquarius? And I do think that some of us, we can have terrible things that happen to us, right? And but I feel like the Star is saying there's probably someone that has had it worse and has pulled their way out of it. The Star, I like to say as well, maybe we need to look for it. Maybe we need to go look for a story about someone who's had it worse. Kind of helps us gain perspective, if that makes sense. With the Eight of Wands, there is the Nine of Wands right there. So I feel like for some of you, what I would say here is there's a lot of boundaries going on in this first row. Seven of Wands, Nine of Wands, two cards of putting up very strong boundaries. I don't think these are boundaries as much as they are beliefs. I feel like you need to commit to a belief system, and that is what's going to manifest major improvements for you here, Aquarius. Next, you have this Eagle Spirit. This card says Spirit has your back. So I feel like you're manifesting really good things with this eagle energy. I feel like you're accomplishing a lot as well. The whole point of the eagle as a totem animal is that the eagle can, see very far, right, off into the distance, but it can't see all the way around the curve of the earth. So for a lot of you, I feel like this is saying that it's like you can see very far into the future, but there could be some really good things coming your way and you just can't see them yet. So I feel like some of you need to realize that it's like better things are ahead, and it's like you can't always see what's coming around the next bend, right? So we kind of have to keep moving forward. And I feel that this Eagle Spirit is saying that. In this row, you have the Star, the Five of Cups, and the Seven of Cups. I do feel like everybody else, you've experienced a lot of disappointment. I don't know, it is a disappointing time. I mean, if we just look at the astrology, if we look what we've been dealing with for a very long time, we're dealing with the whole Uranus-Saturn thing until 2033, basically, is when finally Saturn and Uranus separate officially. So that doesn't mean things are going to be bad until 2023. But I do feel, and it's funny because till 2033. You have this 23 here on the Eagle Spirit. So I'm wondering, I think things are going to be improving actually this year, even though we're in 2022. But it's kind of like, I feel like we've been in a time of these disappointments right here, the Five of Cups. I do feel that there are regrets here as well, Aquarius. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I do feel for some of you, it's you that has regrets about a situation, probably around a love connection. Could be with a fire sign, Devil, Sagittarius with a Temperance card. And I'm just getting fire popping up into my head as well intuitively. So I feel there was confusion in the situation with the Seven of Cups. So it's almost like someone was confused or someone didn't know what to do in a love situation. That Star card could just be you healing from that. If you had that experience, I think you're just healing from it. I do feel the Star is the most important card here, not just because it's your card, but it's also a card of inspiration. She is pouring water onto the land right here. And the water that she's pouring onto the land, it represents kind of if something is possible for one person, then it's possible for you. That's why the star card is a card of inspiration, because it's like if you see someone doing something that you want to do, maybe you see someone doing something who you think is dumb. And you can look at that person and you can say, if they can do it, I can do it. And I get that energy for you in this row. So let's see. With the star, you have the Chariot. Where there's a will, there is a way. This whole entire reading is definitely talking about willpower and asserting yourself. We're not talking about doing this in a toxic way. Like, right, there's a toxic way to conquer something that is around you. I feel like, again, like I said at the beginning of the reading, this is more inspiration, more creativity. There is a co-creative aspect to this. So whatever it is that you are trying to get out of your life, I would not be thinking like this, like bopping heads together, right? I think there is a co-creative way that you can get yourself out of like a point. Like I see you having been like funneled into a very tight squeeze here, Aquarius. I feel like this is what you've experienced in probably like 2020, since maybe 2019. So like the past, like, what is that, 2 years, something like that. So about the last 2 years, and I'm not referring to COVID here. I'm referring to, for some of you, I feel like this is a love situation where you've been funneled into something, and like you're at the point, of this funnel. I feel like there is a way that you can co-create your way out of an experience or into an experience as far as love is concerned. So definitely something to think about. For others, I feel like you're just what you are doing is healing so that you can move on, plain and simple. With the Five of Cups, you have the Five of Swords. A lot of conflict energy in your reading. Again, like I said, I think that maybe this is how you are thinking about things. And again, I'm not calling you out here, Aquarius. We all do this, right? Nobody's perfect. And I don't think this is a bad thing either. I just think that maybe you are kind of looking at a situation that you want to remove yourself from, and you could be thinking about it this way when there might be just a better way. So I would just stay open to that. Literally, I think you just need to think about it, and I think the universe will bring you the ideas. I think the universe will show you how to co-create your way out of something. It's kind of weird how that's popping into my head as well. I'm not really sure like what this is referring to. For some of you, I feel like it's money related because of that Five of Pentacles. There's also an anchor here on the Five of Pentacles in the window. You can see that it forms an anchor right here. And it kind of says that you could be feeling trapped because of a financial situation. So, for example, maybe you have a job and you're like trying to get out of it, but you're like, I need money and all this other stuff. Very true, right? We need money to survive in this 3D world. And so totally understandable. And I feel like what you're fearing is being stranded. You have this last card here, which is like, if I make this decision, I will be stuck, is how it's popping into my head. So I feel like for some of you, you need to realize that you can create anything. And I think you've proven to yourself multiple times in your life that you can create your way out of something, or you can create your way into something. So it's like this reading is asking you to just trust that, magical side of yourself, Aquarius, is really where I see this reading going. I see this reading is like a tangled web inside of my head. I just see all these, like, it's almost like a light is zipping around a tangled web, and this could be your brain. Like, your brain, I think, could be kind of, going back and forth. Like, I have all these things I need to do with my life, and all this stuff, and I think that it's coming from maybe a fearful place because of your last row. And the interesting thing is it's like once you change this, like right now, boom, change it. Like things are going to open up for you is how I see this reading going. Very weird, interesting reading. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Page of Pentacles. Studiousness, learning. I kind of see this as good news, but the Page of Pentacles, he's focused on one thing. He's focused on that pentacle, and you have that Seven of Cups there, which is like a card of confusion, card of like being spoiled for choice, having too many choices. In your last row, you have this stranded card, and this to me is popping to my head as a fear for you, Aquarius. You can see, speaking of anchors, there's an anchor right here on the card, and it's like a boat in a tree. I don't know about you, but I see this as you kind of like trying, this is what you're trying to avoid, like being stuck to one thing, or I feel like you're trying to avoid being stranded maybe financially. For some of you, it could be in love as well. It's like sometimes I think we want to get into a relationship, but then the thing that is preventing us from having a good relationship is that we kind of jump to, what if this person leaves me and leaves me alone? Like kind of like, what do you call that? Abandonment, right? So I kind of see you changing this in a good way, which is great because you have the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and the Moon here. The Moon is still the fear. The Ten of Swords is like a card of releasing. You know, he is dead. So you can say all day long how bad the Ten of Swords is, but really it's a card of the end. Tens represent the end in tarot. There's like nothing after the Ten of Swords really. I mean, yeah, there are the court cards and everything like that, but this is the end. Tens are the end in the tarot. And so it's like, and not only that, he's making a symbol with his hands right here that represents a blessing. So it's like there are blessings in the death. There are blessings in undergoing a transformation. The Ace of Cups could be a love offer for you, but I really see this as you kind of focusing on joy, happiness. It's also kind of like that magic, right? The Ace of Cups is the hand of God reaching out with a cup. I always say that with the Ace of Cups, to me, the dove right here, the doves in tarot represent peace and happiness, but to me, on the Ace of Cups, it represents kind of the action. The dove is causing this cup to overflow on the Ace of Cups. But we only get the dove, we only find peace when we take action, when we accept that cup into our lives. That's the only time that we get it. I also think that it's interesting that there's a lot of like rising imagery going on here in your reading. And I'll tell you what I mean. You have the Ten of Swords. The sun is rising in the background here on the Ten of Swords. It kind of says, yeah, it's the end, but the sun is coming up. There is a W on the Ace of Cups. It represents the West, and the sun sets in the West. Then we have the moon, right? The moon comes up, the moon goes down, and then what happens? The sun comes up, right? Looks to me like this reading is talking about a rebirth as well, probably in yourself. And I think it's kind of saying that you've been going through this dark period of time. You could argue that on the Ten of Swords, the sun is actually setting. And I kind of see that here where maybe the sun is set and you've been in this moon period, this fearful time, but that fear is actually holding you back. I think if you're doing a lot of the ping-ponging like I was talking about in your head, it's like that feels good, right? We call it mental masturbation, right? It feels good, but does it actually do something for us? The answer is no. So if you're like going back and forth, constantly thinking about fears, it's like our brain tricks us into thinking that we're doing something when we're actually not. That's like worrying, right? I know a lot of worriers in my life, and what I would say is they don't actually get anything done because they're just worrying, which doesn't accomplish anything. So I feel like this reading is asking you to release some fears as well. With the Ten of Swords, Two of Cups, perfect match coming in for you. Could be love coming in for you, but Two of Cups really, to me, is a card of you and your higher self. I think you need to sit down and have a conversation with your higher self. You can see that there is a staff of Hermes between these two people, that squiggly staff, and that represents communication. So for some of you, I feel like you need to, like, it's popping into my head as you setting the record straight. And I kind of feel like you need to set the record straight with yourself, like what you're willing to accept and live. With the Ace of Cups, yeah, just needing to see that there is another way to live your life. The Star card, it is very hard that, you know, trust me, I'm a Pisces. I was a chronic worrier for many years, right? And many things happened in my life where I started seeing that there was another way to live, right? I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to live in fear. I didn't have to worry about things that everybody worries about and like all this other stuff, because there are people who don't and they're successful. So the Two of Swords, she is sitting where she has always been. She has a blindfold on, and she's not seeing this island behind her. She could easily turn around and go to that island. And what is on that island? Who knows? Could be anything, but it could be her new life as well. And she needs to turn around and go to that island so she can experience something new, so she can experience success. And with the Moon card, you have the Queen of Wands here. Yep, Queen of Wands about being bold, being assertive. She doesn't know. She learns as she goes, the Queen of Wands. She has to create her own reality, and she has to be bold. She's the only fire court card that doesn't have a salamander on her cloak, and she doesn't have a salamander on her card as well. The salamander represents protection from fire. And so it kind of represents protection from risk. And I feel like for some of you, maybe that's where the fears are coming from, is that you're like going to have to look at, and the Empress just popped out onto my lap as well here, Aquarius. You know, glow up vibes, right? The Queen of Wands, she believes in like magic. She believes in creation. She believes in everything that I've said in this reading, that where there's a will, there's a way. When she wants to do something, she just goes for it, right? She is the bold, assertive energy in the tarot. She doesn't like worry about like what will my cousin think. She doesn't worry about, well, what if I break my leg? Or she doesn't have like all these like little fears, right, that pop up. She just goes for it. She just does it. She just does what she wants. And because of that, she's like much more successful, and she doesn't have disasters in her life or anything like that. She lives more from the heart. And I see you doing that here, Aquarius. So, you know, it probably hasn't been an easy transition or change, but I think that's what's going on here. I would invite some more magic into your life as well, but a pretty interesting reading. I like it. I like where this is going. Well, we're going to be back for the mid-month, and we'll see. But thank you for being here, Aquarius. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your month.